Greetings everyone, Lewis Cooper here. I'm here to review another film for you. That could be my catchphrase, couldn't it? But it probably won't be. Um, I went to see Don't Worry Darling, which is the new film directed by Olivia Wilde and starring Florence Pugh and Harry Styles alongside several others, which we'll get into. The film's been a lot more talked about than it probably would have been otherwise because there's been a lot of rumours and nonsense and stuff about what happened in the production and that, but to be honest with you, I don't care about that. I just want to talk about the film, so I'm not going to get into any of that. I don't think so anyway, it depends what comes out of my head. But yeah, because I don't really think that has much of an effect on the film, so I just want to talk about the film as a film. No spoilers. Yeah, no spoilers, you'll be alright. I saw the trailer for this, I think, on an IMAX screen for the first time. I saw it a few times on an IMAX screen as well. And the first trailer looks really good, made it look like a really unique, kind of epic film in some sense. And when I saw the second trailer for it, it kind of didn't quite have that same impact. So I was like, I'm curious about this. And again, like I say, all the stuff going on behind the scenes doesn't really concern me. It didn't make me more interested in the film. I just think that a lot more people are going to see this film than would have done before. And obviously Harry Styles is a draw because he's very famous outside of acting and films and stuff. And Florence Pugh is great anyway. She always has been. She's just been steadily rising as a star and a leading lady. And so this is kind of, she's the name of the film as such, even though I don't think she's quite, household name status yet. I think a lot of people know her now, so I think that those two are a reasonably good draw on their own, but I think with all the extra stuff, I think that's probably going to get more eyes on this film than what there would have been otherwise, because it's a bit of a weird film, and the marketing is a bit more of an off-kilter look to it kind of thing. So I think a lot of people will probably look at this now coming into expecting a bit more conventional mainstream film, and it's not really. It's kind of just slightly off to the side of that, which is kind of why I was interested in seeing it primarily. Overall, I'd say it was interesting. I thought, I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it in any way. I just kind of went along with it, and I thought this is quite an interesting movie. I think a lot of the positives have been that it looks really good. Like the film has kind of a almost sort of futuristic but 1950s setting in terms of the dressing, the way people dress, and the cars and the buildings and things inside the buildings and stuff like that. And it has kind of a cool look. It really reminded me of the Fallout games, particularly sort of Fallout 4 at the beginning before the nuclear apocalypse and stuff like that. And it's kind of, it had that same kind of feel to it, which is quite a cool vibe, I think, kind of a futuristic retro sort of thing. And the whole film looks great, it's shot really well. And I think the real strength is the cast as well. So Florence Pugh is fantastic. Like she can do nothing wrong, I don't think. And I liked Harry Styles as well. I've not seen much of him acting because he's not really done that much so far, apart from a few brief appearances in the films. And I don't really know much about him generally, really. I also know who he is because he's very famous. But I was like, yeah, cool, I'll give him a chance as an actor the same way I would anybody else. So a lot of people talked about like his accent and stuff, and I found his accent is a bit weird, but I don't really understand what he was going for, and I don't really think I've heard him talk in real life, so I don't know if this is just his accent. I'm not really sure, but it didn't really affect my enjoyment of the film. I thought he was really good in it as well. So Chris Pine is in it as kind of the kind of the antagonist of the film. I think I got that right around this time. And yeah, he's an interesting character. He plays kind of the odd, eccentric kind of character. It reminded me of, again, no plot spoilers or anything, but it reminded me of the old Simpsons episode with the leader, and that's what this made me think of. But yeah, I really like Chris Pine. He's done quite a lot of big stuff, but then he doesn't seem to do it as frequently these days. I think he's a bit of a kind of a, I don't know. He's not your typical sort of Hollywood leading man. He's a bit kind of weird and a bit out there, which I mean in the best possible way. And I think sometimes he's just a bit picky about what he does, which is absolutely fine. I respect that. And I really like seeing him things, especially when he plays characters with a bit of an edge. Like, it's a weird reference, but when he was in Horrible Bosses 2, he was absolutely fantastic because he was absolutely maniacal in that. And I always think of that whenever I see him because it was such a good performance. So anything where he can bring a bit of a twisted kind of edge to something I really like. In terms of the story, I think it does a good job of building a good bit of mystery. It didn't go where I thought it would. And again, I won't go into any specifics at all. I'll just talk about how I kind of took it. So I thought the story would go a certain way, and I like the mystery around it. And it wasn't overly compelling, but it was interesting enough. And I did kind of think at one point maybe this is gonna be one of those things where they don't fully explain it, and it's just kind of always a mystery about what was actually going on. But which I actually quite like, and a lot of people don't like that, but I like having a little bit of mystery. So when you leave the film, you kind of go, so what was really going on there, kind of thing. And once I realised what the film was really about in terms of, kind of the reveal of what's going on kind of behind the curtain and kind of the message of the film, and kind of, I wasn't overly, overtaken by it. I just kind of went, yeah, that's fine. That'll do. It makes sense, I guess. I would have liked something a bit different, but I get what the film is trying to put across. And I think the film will probably play differently for men and women. I think it kind of has that kind of message where it's kind of, people will see it different ways depending on which side of the fence you're on. And it's kind of one of those ones where I think, like I say, a lot of people probably come into it just because of the controversy and the stories around it and stuff like that. I say controversy, it's all just nonsense, isn't it? Who cares? But yeah, I think a lot of people will come into it and kind of go, oh, that film's weird, I didn't like that. And then I think there'll be people who it'll work for. I think some people will really like it. I think most people will probably be like me and be kind of in the middle. And I think, yeah, so it's gonna be a bit of probably a broader audience than what was probably anticipated, and I think it will kind of hit differently across the board. I think critically it hasn't done all that great, but I think people, like humans, who go and see it normally will enjoy it a lot more in most cases. But yeah, so overall I say I didn't dislike it, I didn't love it, but I thought it was interesting. That's probably the best way of describing it. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, I appreciate it, especially if you made it to the end. That's really impressive. But yeah, thank you very much, bye.